Good evening, and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your Australian option, and we're actually doing a bit of a market wrap up. Because actually, I try to do radio in the morning, and I try to do in the evenings, and I try to do the podcast on StreamYard. But the market is actually quite in, I would say, in a nice shape. If you look at Jerome Powell's statement that he said that the inflation will actually be high for a very long time. So that means even if we raise the interest rates now coming, I think next week, that inflation will still be high. So that was the comments of the Federal Reserve, and that's why the dollar is actually stronger. Now, funny enough, the gold actually hold up because there is a different story there. Gold is more to do with your with the story that's going on in Russia and Ukraine. So obviously, that is what keep gold actually at bay currently. Now, let's start actually with the oil price. Now, the thing is with the oil price, that is actually very interesting. Oil price was reaching actually 110, and it looks like oil prices will actually stay there for a very long time. I doubt oil prices will go down anytime soon. I can see oil prices are actually battling there at about $110, and it looks like oil has the potential of going up to about 120 to 125. It can actually go a bit higher. The thing is that the Russians is actually quite a bigger exporter of oil, and obviously they took the Russians out entirely. You must remember that is 10 million barrels, over 10 million barrels per day that has been taking off. So if you think that oil prices will go down, that will not happen. Unless we have a recession or depression, then oil prices will go down. But for now, oil prices will be high, and I think for the time period, it will be high because Russians is totally out of the equation. So I doubt oil prices will go down to maybe to 90, 80. That doesn't look possible now. Maybe the Saudis actually pump a bit more oil, but I mean to get actually about 10 million barrels per day, that will not work because that is now totally out because of the Russians that can't export oil anymore because of the sanctions that is basically there. So if you think oil prices will go down anytime soon, that will not happen. So I think oil prices have the potential of going up to 120, 125. It can even maybe go to 130. It can actually go even more, depending also how the war is going on. But the sanctions is already there that they can't export oil. So that means 10 million barrels is off the table. So you can expect oil price to go higher up. But there's obviously something else in the United States. They still have their shale drilling that's going on. The thing is, the potential is not there for them to drill the oil because the Biden administration goes on to green energy and all of those things, and those guys will not actually basically pump oil up unless they actually change the whole story and say the guys must pump the oil. Then we might see the U.S. oil production is increasing, but that is not the case, and that will also take months to come in. On the other side, you have Iran. Iran can pump more oil out. That is now if the sanctions is lifted against Iran. But for Iran to come back to its capacity of where it can pump quite a lot of oil out, that will take about 2 to 3 months. That is what they confirmed actually. So to think to oil prices that will go down anytime soon, I doubt that. For the next few weeks, we might see oil prices actually going up to about 120. It can actually go to about 125. That is what I expect where oil prices will go because of the sanctions against Russia, and that will definitely push the oil prices actually extremely high. Please don't forget actually to throw your questions in so that I can actually answer them. Chart whisperer, long time to see. How's it, bro? I'm actually good. So I think the oil prices will actually still be very high up for the time being, and that is all to do with the story of basically of Russia. Now, I think oil has the potential going up to 120 to 125, and we need a miracle for oil price to go down. Right, so that is the story of Russia. The gold price, actually. So the gold price for me on the other side, I don't think gold prices will also go down. I don't think the war will basically stop in Ukraine and Russia unless actually the capital fall that is now Kiev. So I think the tensions will still go on there, and that will push oil prices actually more further up. And I don't see actually that to come down anytime soon. So and that is to do with oil. Oil actually has a very strong story when it gets to about when it gets to the inflation, and it looks like inflation will not come down anytime soon unless the Federal Reserve is literally trying to pump interest rates to about I don't know, 0.75% or maybe 1%, or just actually crash the economy. Then you will get maybe gold prices going down and oil prices going down. But as things stand, I don't think the Federal Reserve will go with one go by lifting up the interest rates, because that could damage the indexes. So to see gold prices go down to 1900 or below that, that look for me also not possible. I think gold also has the potential to going up to about 2000 US dollars. Once it breaks that 145 mark of where it's starting, where it's actually basically hitting resistance there, once it hits over that 145 mark, then you will just see gold going straight up to about 2000 mark. There is actually something, Charles Whisperer. The max on that is really CL was reached at 145. That was, I think, that was to do with the story of Iraq, or maybe after that. So yeah, it has a potential going up. Look, maybe there can be sanctions from the Middle East also against the Americans, and then we will see oil price definitely at $200 a barrel. If we reach it, we doom. I'm just actually posting up these questions for you. If we reach it, we are doomed. I'll get a cycle to work. I can't even go electric with this petrol price. Look, electric cars, I don't think Elon has the capacity to build everybody electric cars. So I doubt that will be basically possible. Yeah, no, look, I will also start to lose some weight and actually run basically to where I need to go. So that is actually the story with gold. I think gold has a potential of going up further. And then we have the story of the non-farmers payrolls tomorrow. I don't know, can we pay attention to that tomorrow? Because I know it's important news, the non-farmers payrolls. Can you pay attention with it, with all the politics and breaking news that actually follows through? Once you trade with the NFP, you have to be very careful there, because anything can happen tomorrow. There is actually also negotiations that goes on with Ukraine and Russia, and that news can come at any time and mess up totally your trades. So basically the whole market is controlled by the story of Ukraine and Russia. So you have to update yourself in that. I felt actually a bit bad for the NFP number, because I doubt that will have the potential to carry through. Although that news is important, but it looks like the Federal Reserve already made their mind up, or the market made their mind up already, that they will raise the interest rates not at least to 0.25 or with 50 basis points. That is how it looked for the United States. So whatever the NFP number is tomorrow, that will basically not count. Now, the thing is with the Federal Reserve put themselves in a very, very, very bad picture now. They made one hell of a policy mistake, and that is what I said last year also in one of my podcasts. Because look, you can't just think that you can print money and nothing is going to happen. That is not how it actually works. The world can move in any directions. So the Federal Reserve printed money, and now they don't know what the hell to do. The only way to do it, they have to basically lift up the interest rates and crash the economy. That is the only way how you can stop inflation and also the high oil price. But on the other side, you can do that, but then you will have basically a depression or recession, because interest rates will be too high and the people will not be able to afford it. So that is the problem of the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve don't have a choice but to actually to raise the interest rates quite aggressively to curb inflation, or he can actually allow the inflation to run hot in America, and literally tell the people that you just have to brace for inflation, because he can't lift up the interest rates too high. It's a very tough situation that the Federal Reserve is in, and they actually created this for themselves. That is what they did. They made a mistake. They should have lifted up the interest rates when the door was open. They did not. And now they don't know what the hell to do. Must they lift up aggressively or not? If I was a Federal Reserve, I would just actually raise the interest rates actually higher up and just get it over and done with. So how will we trade? The thing is, you just have to stick with the safe havens now, because the story in Ukraine is too tense. It's still too tense. So if you jump maybe to the euro or buy the euro, I know the euro is actually very nice to buy. I don't know, can you buy the euro? Because it looks like Christine Lagarde don't want to lift up the interest rate unless you get forced to do it. My thing is this, I'm just buying gold in the US dollar. That's basically it. You can actually look at the Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar, because the commodities are actually doing very well, and even the South African rand. Those currencies really get backing because of what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. On the other side, they are also risky currencies, but they do get a lot of backing from the commodities. So your best bet is basically gold and also the dollar. That's basically it, because it's very certain that the Federal Reserve will lift up the interest rates, and the market is trying to price that in as we speak. So until surely next week. And obviously, after that policy meeting, then obviously you will get the forward guidance from the Federal Reserve, where they will say they're going to lift up interest rates even further or not. So that is from my side. I'm just with the dollar and with gold for now, and basically look at the oil price, if it can reach actually about 20 or 120 or 125 or 130, or even what Charge Whisperer is saying, 145. So that is it from my side. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show, and then I will do my absolute best to be here at 8 o'clock on Monday, and also on my radio, which will be at 10 a.m. in the morning, South Africa time. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. I will see you guys next week, Monday again. Bye-bye.